a couple of minutes.
Doing something. Which one? No, I think that the one you're on now is doing something. That's this.
From Amy and Jesse.
Good morning, Unity on the Lake Shore. We are so happy to be with you. Let's get on up and sing our opening song. Woke up this morning with my mind set on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind set on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind set on spirit. Hallelujah,
Now, if you'll join me in prayer. As we continue our service, allow us to understand, comprehend, and speak to the I am within. As we join today in service and gratitude. Thank you, God. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm your host, Barb Corcoran, and I'm delighted to be here today. Hi to everybody online, wave, okay. And I'd like to mention our special speaker today, Fred Stella, which I'm sure you all know. I'd like to thank Amy and Jesse for all the wonderful music. Unity on the Lakeshore is a non-denominational spiritual community anchored in loving care. If you are here for the first time, please let us know. Whoever you are or wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. At this time, I'd like to ask Roger to light the Christ candle. And as he does so, if you'll join me in saying, we light the Christ candle, remembering the Christ within. Thank you, Roger. If you'll join me in the vision statement. Every life, a spiritually transformed life. Now our affirmation of faith. There is only one presence and one power as me and as the universe, God, the good, omnipotent. Now a congregational song, another congregational song from Amy and Jesse.
Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your joy in me, pour your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your joy in me, pour your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit.
Thank you, Amy and Jesse. Now for today's daily word, ease. Beholding God in every circumstance helps me know ease. It's easy for me to find God in the glory of a sunrise and in the laughter of children, and to feel God's love as I get together with friends and family. Wherever there is wonder, joy, or fellowship, God is surely present. I remember that God is just as surely present when my responsibilities feel overwhelming, when conflict arises in a relationship, or when it feels as though there isn't enough of what I need. If I begin to feel tense, fearful, or frustrated, I remember that wisdom, love, understanding, and strength, all of the divine qualities that live within me, are ready to help me handle and challenge. Assured by my awareness of God's presence, I move with ease and grace through whatever this day brings. And from Proverbs 1:33, those who listen to me will be secure and will live at ease without dread of disaster. Now, I would like to welcome Fred Stella for our meditation.
Let's now take these next few minutes and affirm that we will enter into the silence together, untroubled by the cares and responsibilities that often haunt us, and that we will make every effort to make our single thought that of divine communion, knowing full well that we are at rest in spirit. So we close our eyes. We have a comfortable but disciplined posture. And let's begin to observe the respiration process. Feel the inhalations and exhalations as they come and go. Each breath, a divine event. We feel the coolness of the air as it enters us and the warmth as it leaves us. Cast aside every thought, aside from the breathing process. Of course, memories, thoughts, plans will make every attempt to disrupt our meditation. We can expect that. Every time we realize that we have strayed from the thought of breathing, we gently cast the offending thought away. And we do so with gentleness, making sure that we don't become frustrated with our efforts, angry at ourselves. Now let us turn our thoughts toward gratitude. Feel thankful for not only the grand things in our lives, such as a loving relationship or whatever prosperity we might be experiencing, be thankful that every part of the body that was supposed to get us from our beds to this very place worked well enough to do so. That any impediment that may have caused us an absence here today simply did not happen. We are well. We are in satsang, or spiritual fellowship. For that, let us be thankful. We recognize that spirit exists within and without. Let us be thankful. Oh, life is sweet and death a dream. Oh, life is sweet and death a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, when thy song flows through me, then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream. Then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, when thy song flows through me, then health is sweet, sickness a dream. Then health is sweet, sickness a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, when thy song flows through me, then praise is sweet and blame a dream. Then praise is sweet and blame a dream. When thy song flows through me, my Lord, 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 when thy song flows through me.
Now we'll have another song from Amy and Jesse.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired. I've had as much of you as I can take. I'm so done, so over being afraid. I've gone through the motions, I've been back and forth. I know that you're thinking you've heard this before. I don't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna say it. Fear you don't owe me, there ain't no room in this story, and I ain't got time for you to telling me what I'm not, like you know me. Well, guess what? I know who I am. I know I'm strong. And I am free, got my own identity. So fear, you will never be welcome here. Take a minute, let it settle in. You probably never saw it coming, no. Something's got to give, so I give up you. Oh, there's no room for you here, yeah, I've had enough. The no vacancy sign on my heart is lit up. In case you didn't hear it, here it is again. Oh, fear you don't own me. There ain't no room in this story. I ain't got time for you telling me what I'm not, like you know me. Well, guess what? I know who I am. I know I'm strong. And I am free, got my own identity. So fear, you will never be welcome here. Is there anybody out there just like me? Anybody needing fear to leave? If you don't know how to say it, sing along with me. Sing fear you don't own me. There ain't no room in this story. And I ain't got time for you telling me what I'm not, like you know me. Well, guess what? I know who I am. I know I'm strong, brave, and I am free, got my own identity. So fear, you will never be welcome here. Goodbye, goodbye, fear. You will never be welcome here.
Amy and Jesse. Now I'd like to welcome up Fred Stella to give us the message.
Well, good morning. Namaste. Always great to be here on the lake shore and a lovely little drive on a Labor Day weekend. I appreciate that. So I'm here to talk about the daily word reading, about how easy it is when we are in the right circumstances to feel Spirit, to just know that it exists. It exists within us. It exists within our fellowship, wherever we may find that. And then there are times when it seems like it will all go away, that we don't feel it, because life, of course, gives us those challenges that were also talked about in the Word. I ended the meditation today with a Hindu chant. The composer is a Bengali poet by the name of Sri Ram Prasad. And the words are, the first line is, "O life is sweet. O life is sweet. When thy song flows through me, life is sweet and death a dream. Life is sweet and death a dream. And then joy is sweet, sorrow a dream, when thy song flows through me. The next line is, health is sweet, sickness a dream, when thy song flows through me. And finally, praise is sweet, and blame a dream, when thy song flows through me. When thy song flows through me. Let's take that apart a little bit, because I think it fits perfectly with the theme today. So we have things that we consider to be positives: life, joy, health, praise. And then we have what are considered negatives: death, sorrow, sickness, blame, or criticism. How are we able to balance all of those and still be in Spirit's presence when the divine song flows through us? And hopefully, by the end of this, we might be able to be more aware of how we can make that song flow through us. So, this world is a world of relativities. When Spirit manifested into existence, remember, God didn't create the world as much as God became the world. And so before the world, and by the world I'm talking about the absolute infinite universe, not just little old earth here, but before divinity manifested, there was no relativity, right? There was no heat, cold, life, death, this or that, him or her. Nothing like that existed. But as soon as divinity manifested what we call creation, a better word is manifestation, all of a sudden there was relativity. So following that line of cosmic thinking, you can't possibly have joy without sorrow. You can't have health without sickness. We live in a world filled with the pair of opposites. So how do we navigate that? How do we make the best of this situation? Well, first of all, I think it's important to remember that every situation that we are in, whether we consider it a positive situation or a negative situation, either situation is presented to us as an opportunity for spiritual growth. Oftentimes people, when they are in a challenging position, when they're frustrated, when things aren't going their way, whether in relationships or work or whatever, they might have the presence of mind to think, well, this is a test. This is a way that the divine is allowing me to figure out how to do this, that, or the other thing. We don't often think of that when the sun is shining on us. We don't think of that as a test. But every circumstance is. So when things are going wonderfully well, for instance, when you are prosperous, when life just happens to shine a little bit of extra cash on you, how do you react to that? What is the generosity factor? Are you simply going to feed the senses with pleasures due to this excess of money or wealth, right? When you are in a relationship and things are going well, are you just going to let it slide? Are you going to make sure that you continue to work towards a better relationship? So these are the things that I often think about, that every situation is a test. I often, when talking about the law of karma, the law of cause and effect, that our past actions inform our future actions, I often give the example of saying, well, one child is born to parents who are in deep poverty. And perhaps there's drug abuse in that household. Perhaps the average person would look at that situation and be hesitant to think that that child would ever attain anything in life. And then on that same day, a child is born in one of the suburbs to a very wealthy family. And we look at that, we see that both parents are college educated. There is no substance abuse in the family at that time. And we just can assume, not rightly so, that this child is going to become somebody of influence, someone who is materially successful, and perhaps a very fine, upstanding community member. But we don't know that, because those circumstances that birthed the poor child may work in his or her favor. And the child born into the wealthy family may get spoiled, may not feel that he or she has to work towards anything. The road just is paved before them as they go. So we can't say that this situation is a bad situation and the other is a good situation all the time. We're not able to see behind the curtain. But for now, I would just encourage you to remember that every situation is an opportunity for spiritual growth. Now, when things do happen that are challenging, one of the things I notice in people is they tend to apologize for how they feel. This thing happens and they think that they should feel one way, but they don't. Perhaps they've lost someone to death, and they're not crying, they're not mourning. And then they say, I'm sorry, I know I should feel this way. No, you are feeling what you are feeling. Allow yourself to feel that. In the same way, some people are frustrated because they are in intense mourning. And they think back, well, you know, my spiritual upbringing tells me that I should be joyful at this moment. No, you can't do that. Feel what you are feeling. And if you are in a challenging circumstance, a sorrowful circumstance, feel what you are feeling. Now, through spiritual practice, through a deeper understanding of your relationship with Spirit, you may grow to a state where you feel that your feelings are more appropriate, more optimistic, more compassionate. But until you reach that stage, you can't deny what you feel. You're only putting a Band-Aid on something. Allow yourself to be who you are at this instant. Doesn't mean you can't grow, but it means you are being honest with yourself as to where you are at this particular time. The only time, I will say this, that I allow myself to feel really, really frustrated and a bit of anger is when I know that I have disappointed someone. I can't tell you how frustrated that makes me feel, and I have no desire to change that dynamic about myself. I can get very angry at myself if I've disappointed someone. And usually, the disappointment is something simple like, oh, I forgot. Oh, is that on Tuesday? I thought it was Wednesday. And I do whatever I can to make it up to the person. And until I know that not only have I made things right with that person, and that I have made every opportunity, made every effort to make good on what I should have done, I'm going to be a little ticked at myself. And there might be wisdom traditions that say, no, you should forgive yourself. I can't do it. And I don't want to do it until I know that I've rectified that. You know, if you're supposed to be here on at 3 o'clock, at 6 o'clock. I want to just reach in my wallet. Look, here's $50. Just call it good, will you? I mean, if that's what it takes, I would do that. There is a Hindu saying that if you don't make God a guest in your summer house, he will not visit you in the winter. Now, you have to take this in context, right? God's blessings, God's love, it permeates the universe. Grace is everywhere. When we talk about grace, I know that there are different ways to look at grace, but the Hindu way of looking at grace, and what I believe would be Unity's understanding of grace, is that it's like air. All you have to do is breathe it. And the only people who do not get God's grace are the people who don't breathe, right? It's as easy as that. So God does not withhold his presence from people the way it might look, right? Here we're sort of anthropomorphizing God as someone who, oh, come on in, God, here's my summer house, right? And then, we're filled up at our house, God, so, come back in the winter. Come back when we need you. That really isn't exactly how it works. I think it's a good metaphor to start with, that God would be a guest in our summer house and also visit us in the winter. But God is God. God is going to be there. But we may not be able to feel God's presence. We may not be able to feel we are in God when we don't think about God unless something goes really, really wrong. And I think we've known people who have no need to connect with their spiritual selves until tragedy comes. And then they reach out. Now, again, it's not like God is up there saying, well, you've never prayed before, so I don't know if I'm going to grant you health or your spouse health because this or that, the other thing has happened. Of course not. But to those people who continue on a daily basis to make their appointment with the divine, when those things happen that are tragic, that can make us sorrowful, we know that there is a divine hand. And we know that because we have practiced prayer, we have practiced meditation, we know that we can find solace there. While others who just sort of fumble around with words because they've never felt they've needed to. I also find it's fascinating, and I have talked to people like this, who all of a sudden, they believe in God, they might have some sort of spiritual practice, they may be affiliated with a church, and that's fine. And then all of a sudden something really bad happens in their life. And then they say, I can no longer even believe in God. How could a good God, allow this to happen? And I think to myself, well, wait a minute here. You're 30 years old, 40 years old, whatever. You've never heard of things like, the Holocaust, famine throughout many countries, all of the unjust wars and dictatorships, and you're questioning the existence of God because what? Because you're having a problem with your relationship, or you have a disease like a billion other people at this very moment, multiple billions of people. But those of us who are wholly invested in spirit know that that is just the reality of life. I want to talk about the idea of life being a dream, or rather, life is sweet, death a dream, and praise is sweet, blame a dream. I want to make sure you understand that metaphor as well. When we talk about things being a dream, and that in the Hindu tradition, in our scriptures, that comes up over and over again about life, existence, this universe being a dream. And a lot of Westerners, they kind of roll their eyes and say, well, that's ridiculous. Life isn't a dream. Well, let's deconstruct that metaphor for a second. So, for instance, if I were to ask you, are dreams real? Your first response might be, no, dreams aren't real. This, being awakened, this is real. But what if someone goes to a therapist and says, every night I have this dream that I'm being chased by my mother and she turns into Godzilla and she grabs me and she devours me. And I have that same dream every night. What is the therapist going to say? I can guarantee you one thing. He's not going to say, oh, it's just a dream. What are you worried about? Don't worry about it. Live your life. And if you have that dream, it's just a dream. No, of course not. Dreams have a reality. It's not as significant a reality as what we are experiencing in our waking state, but there is a reality to dreams. And of course, some people have prescient dreams where they dream that somebody is perhaps going to pass over, and lo and behold, the next morning they find out that their grandfather passed on during the night. So what is that? Is that just fake? No, of course not. So when we talk about this world being a dream, this world being not real, all we're simply saying is that there is a more real reality above and beyond what we are experiencing here. That wholeness of spirit, that universe, that existence that goes beyond pleasure and pain, profit or ruin, victory or defeat. And all we need to know is that exists. But we are in this world of relativity. I think I've mentioned from this pulpit before, if I was to ask you if this lectern is solid, I think we would have a consensus. People would say, sure, absolutely. But if a physicist walked in, he might go, yes, but it's made up of molecules. The molecules are made up of atoms. The atoms are made up of protons and electrons, and there are spaces in between those protons and electrons, and then we come down to quarks, which basically would say that this lectern is made of light. And both realities are correct. This is solid. Look, it's holding up all the stuff that's on here. Good for the lectern. But a deeper reality says, it's all just light waves. So we need to conduct our lives with that same wisdom, that we are in a state of relativity, but that spirit exists beyond relativity, and that our ultimate existence will be with spirit beyond relativity. And while we are in this world of relativity, we should be able to exist on two levels, especially during the times of pain. Similarly to, say, we're driving a car and we're listening to the radio or we're talking to another person. Not texting. But one of those other two, right? When you're in a car on the highway, I mean, I was thinking about this coming in. I'm driving down 196 and realizing I'm in a life and death situation, right? I am charging this car 70 miles an hour. I'm sticking to that story, 70 miles an hour, right? And I'm barreling 2 tons of metal down the highway, and anything can happen, right? So my concentration is on the driving, but I can also be hearing the radio. I can also be having a conversation. So in life, what I try to do is live on those 2 levels, experiencing the pain, being sad when I feel sad, being frustrated when I feel frustrated, but underlying that is the knowledge that it's temporary and that the divine still is invested in my life as much as I invest in the divine. So we can live with life sweet, death a dream, joy sweet, sorrow a dream, praise sweet, and blame a dream. Namaste.
Thank you, Fred. It's always a delight to have you and hear you. Now we'll do our offertory affirmation. Together, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I live, and all that I receive. I am thankful. And now we'll have a song from, no, we won't. Okay. Why don't you come forward and, well, I'd like to tell you about a few ways that you can give. The ushers are passing the basket and you can give now. We also have an option to give through text. Send the word give to 616-236-5205. 616-236-5205. If it's the first time giving, this way you will receive a link with instructions. If you've given before through text, then you can simply text a dollar amount to the number. You can also give online through our website at unityonthelakeshore.org/donations. For those watching online, the link is in the chat. You can also mail us a check to Unity on the Lakeshore, P.O. Box 848, Douglas, Michigan, 49406. We now will have another song from Jesse and Amy. We now will have another song from Jesse and Amy.
Grateful, I am grateful, I am grateful. Grateful, I am grateful, I am grateful. My gift to you is gratitude. Oh, yes, I'm grateful. Oh, yes, I'm grateful. Grateful, I'm grateful, I'm grateful. Grateful, I'm grateful, I am grateful. My gift to you is gratitude. Oh, yes, I'm grateful. Oh, yes, I'm grateful.
Thank you, Amy and Jesse. And now for our announcements. If you are in need of support, there are a few ways you can receive that. First is to email us at unityonthelakeshore@gmail.com. You can also phone the office at 269-857-8226. And there is always Unity Silent Prayer Line. That is a 24/7 line at 816-969-2000. For the current time, Wednesday evening prayer and meditation is going to be canceled for the next 3 weeks while people are transitioning back and forth to different locations, and then we'll resume it later. We have a book study happening at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. It's held here, and the book is Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. And it's a study of meditation and different effects. We have some extra books. If you'd like to join us, you can jump into the group at any point in time. If you haven't liked us on Facebook, please do so. This way you can share about all of the great things going on here and engage with others. You can find us at facebook.com/Unity on the Lakeshore. Are there any first-time guests here for the first time today? We'd like to welcome you and hope you join us again. I think there's a pamphlet coming from. Are there any other announcements from the community? Then it's time for our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. We can all stand up.
Thank you, Unity on the Lakeshore. Much love and appreciation to you. We are so grateful to be here. Please rise up with us and sing our closing song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go in peace, love, and understanding.